Okay. Right. So let's look at how I intend to do DCA on crypto and stocks come to this point. All right. So if I go to my trading view and I show you guys, let's go to the crypto watch list. And we look at the father of all crypto. It's been pumping lately, and there'll be a lot of noise on crypto related sites telling you that something is happening. On a weekly basis, all the pump that just happened on Bitcoin is just from this point to this point, just from here to here. That's all, right? Look at how far it has fallen, which is why I say I still maintain a bearish outlook until for crypto on the weekly, I get a bullish signal. That means I won't be able to catch the bottom. Just like I said yesterday, I'm not in the business of catching the bottom. And I suggest for investment purposes, for trading purposes, fine, there are strategies that will help you. I think Kit Code even gave a buy, and that was it Friday or Monday? I can't remember now. Right. So if but on the global outlook, like I mentioned yesterday, I'm still bearish until certain things change, especially with the Terra Luna and the FTX brouhaha. I'm still bearish. So don't fall for that simple push. If you go to something like 15 minutes, what you will see is a massive push to the upside. If you are a trader, yes, you can catch that. If you're an investor, meaning that you are trying to buy and hodl, this is nothing compared to what has been happening in the downside. It's basically just a blip, right? So however, if we go back to the weekly time frame and we take a look at the footprints that Bitcoin has been giving us for a while, and not just Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies in general, you would notice that there was a time when Bitcoin rose to gave about a 600% push and then dropped by 84%. It went up. Several persons would have bought at that top, and then it dropped a pullback of 85%. Right? From that pullback of 85%, it made a rise of 300 and something percent, which is a cyclical type of growth without taking out the previous high. Then made another drop from that high to this point, a gain of 72%, right? So this was like first leg up, down, and then from there, it did this rise. Oh, sorry. It did this rise of 1,781%. Right now, it is in a dip. I don't have the time to go through the 4-year cycle, maybe at another time. But for here, we can just look at Bitcoin has gone down 77%, right? Which means if we take historically, if I had gone to the daily or to the 12 hours and we start taking it cycle by cycle, you discover that Bitcoin has a knack of coming down 85% sometimes, 85%. And every cycle, some coins would die and never resurrect, which is why we say when you are dollar cost averaging, especially for a long time, you should focus on the top 10, top 20 coins. But I think Luna was in one of the top 20 and we saw what happened. So things happen sometime in the financial world and you just have to take your loss and move on. But again, you are safer holding coins in the top 20. When the bull season come, you can now go back to the shit coin, to the meme coins, and blah, blah, blah. You can go back to those ones. But for now, anybody investing in any of those coins is practically wasting time. Somebody said outside of ETH and BTC, the top 10 coins of the last cycle never make it to the next top 10 thus far. Yeah, they never make it to the next top 10, but they at least rise a little, right? So what we are looking at basically, if you are doing dollar cost average, is not necessarily to eclipse the previous all-time high ATH, but it's basically to have an appreciation of your coins. I can't really say, well, one coin has been stable apart from ETH and Bitcoin, and that is I think Ripple has been stable. XRP seems to have been stable over the years. Somehow, XRP seems to have been stable over the years. BNB and BUSD might be stable because, except if something happens to CZ or Binance. For now, they seem to be the alpha exchange. I remember doing over. I bought BNB on my birthday, 5th of February, 3 years back, and it did over how many X, right? Well over 10X. But who knows if it will repeat itself again. Yeah, Litecoin too has been pretty stable. That's true. Litecoin has been pretty stable. I don't trust the Solana right now. But let's go to this year, right? Now, what I just explained here, same thing for stocks. So let's come back to here again and pick up our stocks. If we pick up our stocks, let's look at Tesla. I still believe, even though I haven't had this discussion with Prof, but I still believe Tesla is at foremost point in EVs, the electronic vehicles, and I see it rising. Can Tesla get to $68 per share? Very possible, but for now, I see it in this zone on the weekly, right? And I think from here, I can begin to dollar cost average for a possibility of Tesla, maybe in another 2 years, or if possible, if it rises up fast again, another 1 year, getting to this point. Again, everything here is investment, right? And I'm looking at the bird's eye view of the economy. Would we slide into a recession? Possibility that it will come down to this point. And if you are doing dollar cost average, you're not trying to buy the bottom, right? You are trying to follow what one of the greatest investors said in the world said. He says you invest when there is blood on the street. So when it is dropping, it's actually a discount for you to go in. So if you look at Alibaba did something similar. This was the last time I bought Alibaba, hoping that it was going to get to the peak. I think Prof, you remember this time, it never did. But look at that zone. If we bought Alibaba, if we're doing dollar cost average on Alibaba right about now, we should be above break even and hoping that if Alibaba pierces back up, we should be in profit, right? So Amazon is another one I'm looking at. It's at a very, very deep discount right about now. And if I take this zone again using the AQZ fib, it's somewhere with around my PE for me to begin to dollar cost average. Can it drop further? Why not? We've seen several things happening. In fact, I have this one open here. Elon Musk being the very first person in history to lose 200 billion. And I think close to him is Mark Zuckerberg, who's lost close to 50% of his net worth in the last 18 months. So shit happens in this industry. And talk less of we retail traders. Yeah, Apple didn't really drop that much. It's something else I'm looking. So I'm looking at, if you look at US 30, the top, it seemed not to have, it seemed to be reacting fast, meaning that could it be that there is a resurgence in, are people beginning to take on risk, right? But if you notice this drop. When US 30 dropped like this, everybody shouted US 30 has dropped by 20%. But then what happened? It resurged from that point and gave us this growth. Powerful growth, right? Powerful. Then this happened to be Corona. During Corona, I remember I was in the market this time, it was bloody. It dropped by 38%. And then from there, we had a resurgence again, and it moved all the way to that point, giving us over 100% profit. If you are holding stocks, you are not just going to get 100%, you're also going to get dividends and the likes. If you trade a leverage one, I think Prof taught how to do that using IC market and some other ones. This 102% can be as much as 500, 600, 1000x, right? Right now, it has dropped to this point, 25%. If you have been dollar cost averaging from that point, you should be in profit right about now. But this US 30, right? That's just 30 companies. I like looking at NASDAQ, top 100, and it is still on its way down. And I also like looking at 500, which is SPX 500. And it is still not giving us any bullish signal on the week, right? So the reason why I feel we are still bearish, this was Corona for SPX 500, and see how it pierced through. So this drop is, for me, is simply, especially for SPX 500, NASDAQ, US 30, if you want to buy the portfolio as against the individual stocks, is an opportunity to dollar cost average for you to grow. Like, let's see what dollar cost average does. So by normal calculation, maybe I should jump here let's jump that for the sake of time. Let's go straight into application of dollar cost averaging. But if you have the site, with this site, you can go play. If I buy XYZ shares at an average cost, this is what's going to turn out to be. Okay, US 30, because of energy and consumer, they said, okay, Prof is better than me in terms of stocks. So, okay, so if we pick one of the stocks here, let's say we pick only Tesla. Let's say we pick Tesla, right? Let's leave out this drop just for now, just for the purpose of explanation. And let's come to August, August 2020 up to this point here. Let's not even go to the all-time high. Let's stop here. And this would put us somewhere around October 2021, right? I want us to take into consideration this drop. Or perhaps we should even start from this drop. Let's say you were a novice and you bought at this high. And then you started doing dollar cost average as it went down. So somewhere here will be January 2021, and back to this point will be somehow November 2021. So from January 2021 to November 2021, let's come here. So you are buying Tesla. The symbol is TSLA for Tesla. Let's say you actually went in with 500 at the beginning, and you told yourself every month you'll be adding $100, and you started from 2021. From our calculation here, or from what we said, let's say you bought here. That should be sometime around January 2021, and you want to end in December 2021, something like that. So you started from January 2021, and you intend to end December 2021. So your dollar cost averaging $100 every month with a startup at 500. When we calculate the returns right now, you started with 500, you were adding 100 every month. So you would have invested a total of 1,100. At the end of that period, your value will be sitting at 2,100. Notice that even though you had some drops, see what would have happened, right? You were having some drop, and even in that drop, you were not planning to catch the bottom. You just kept putting $100 every month, knowing that on paper, price is good. Price will not continue to drop forever, except the company is going bankrupt, or except something's happening. And the drop can last for 3 years, 4 years. Eventually, there'll be a resurgence if you do your calculations and you pick your companies right. And if you don't want to pick individual companies, you can simply just do this on portfolios like NAS 100, SPX 500, and the likes, right? If I come back here and I go backwards a little, let's say I take this back to 2018, and we repeat the same thing, right? So if you started with 500 in 2018 and you're investing $100 every month, in total, you would have invested just 4,700. But this is what your income would have been. From 2018 to 2021, 2018 inclusive, will be like 3 years. Your $4,700 could be equal to $57,000. Note, you are just putting $100 every month. You don't care about the price. You just buy it. Whether the price is high or not, you just buy, right? I gave an example with Bitcoin yesterday. If, let's take out all these, remove all drawings, right? If you were hoping that this was the beginning of the bull season, you are wrong. Meanwhile, these are weekly time frames. Maybe I should go to 12 hours to make it better. If you were hoping that this was the beginning of the bull season, simply because it was creating series of higher high and higher lows, sorry for you. Price broke and went even much lower. And this is FTX dropping. Now price is pushing and everyone is like, oh, we are bullish. Guys, it hasn't even broken a local high here. It hasn't even broken the local high. So for me, I'm still bearish, except otherwise. On trading terms, I could be in this buy using HPLR, cheat code, whatever, other blocks, blah, blah, blah. You could be in a buy. But remember, I'm talking about investments. So in investments, you don't try to catch the bottom, because you may never be able. No one could have envisaged FTX. No one knew what was going to happen to, well, people postulated and forecasted what was going to happen to Terra Luna or FTX, but they didn't say exactly when it was going to happen. And you might not catch all of those forecasts, right? So this is the power of dollar cost averaging. The same thing for crypto, right? If you need the site to crunch the numbers for crypto, this is a website you can go to for crypto. The other one I gave you here is for stocks. This is for crypto. You can come in here and punch your figures for crypto. Let's say you went in for ETH and you were putting in $100. Perhaps you could change the frequency. It could be monthly, it could be yearly. But why should it be yearly? It could be monthly. And let's say you started from 2028 to January 2020, you could have done like 49x, right? You could have put in only 4,900, and at the end of January 2022, you would have had 44,000, right? If we increase this time to present time, things are bad. Let's take it to December. We take it to December, you would have invested 6,000 and your funds will still be at 20,900. Just imagine that, right? Just imagine that. If you can't do 100, well, you can drop this to 10. Let's drop this to 10, 600 and this, right? This is how you dollar cost for assets and asset classes, you know, that by nature will be in a perpetual uptrend, long term, not short term, right? You dollar cost average on them. And I have a trading pattern too for dollar cost averaging for trading. We call it grid trading. I'll be explaining that to us sometime in February. So that is that on this aspect. For investments, I also found a way of doing Airbnb on housing, right? If you're in Nigeria, this might not work for you. But if you have friends in the States, in Australia, in UK, this works. So I have a colleague in the UK. He gets a flat for, let's say, £2,000 per month. Depending on the location, whether it is Leicester, whether it is Birmingham or whatever, the further north you are, the cheaper housing is. In fact, you could even buy some houses for £75,000 up north. Now, if I invest 50 million naira in Nigeria to build a house, it's going to cost me, it's going to take me about 30 years to recover back the cost of that house, right? And 30 years is on paper, assuming all things being equal. In real life, it's going to take about 40 years because depreciation will come in. There will be things I need to repair in that house. You know, you have to be lucky to get a good tenant to take care of your house. All of those costs will come in and at increasing rates because inflation keeps coming in. So think about this. I started this and it seems to have been paying out well. If you have, let's say, £2,000 and you're able to rent a house through a proxy, and let's say you're able to get a 3-bedroom flat in a student environment. Of course, Nigerians are jackpying seriously to those areas. So back to the story of my friend, he got a place for about 1.9, let's approximate 2,000. It happened to be a 5-bedroom duplex, and he let it each room out for £500 to students. Of course, the living area is a common room. He was able to make a little below 500 per month. Now multiply that by 12. Let me call up my calculator here. So 500 by 12. That puts it at 6,000. Take out taxes and everything. Let's say taxes are ridiculously high and puts it at 20%. So this will be, you are left with 0.8. That will be 4.8, right? This has already given him over 200% of his initial capital outlay of £2,000. Do that in Nigerian Naira and get a glimpse of what that could do. I have another colleague in Canada. He was able to get a house. He was living upstairs and he was using the downstairs for Airbnb. The Airbnb is actually paying for that mortgage on a monthly basis. Now he's trying to get a second house, so he repeats the same thing. So what am I trying to say? Think investments. Even if you're a trader, think investment, something that you don't have to use your energy. You don't have to sit in front of the chart all of the time. Why? Trading is expensive. Trading gives you easy money, gives you cheap money. You could leverage 1,000x if you're not in the US. If you are offshore, you can leverage 1,000, 1:1,000, 1:500. But the mental torture can destroy a home, can destroy a life, can destroy a family. You need to ensure that you have other sources of income so you can engage in trading profitably. It's been very difficult going through the fostering program and teaching young people how to be profitable when trading seems to be their only source of income. You can have a good bullish run for 3 months, for 3 weeks, and 1 week will crumble your psychology and take you back 12 months. 12 months. And then you now have to pet talk people and psych them up just to get them to press buy and sell. I was in that shoe one time. My hands were visibly shaking. I couldn't press buy or sell on my MT4. My hands were visibly shaking. My wife had to come sit beside me and nurse me like I had malaria, just because I was a trader. So it's a difficult terrain, and that was why I was out lashing at somebody who felt we're not posting charts. If people are tired of posting charts, let them be. Don't force anybody. I have tried to force Simply People to post charts before, but some of them are not comfortable with it. Let it be. Just ensure you are serious with yourself and ensure you are doing something. There are several other groups where people are posting charts. Don't come and make us feel we are bad for not posting. We've posted especially if you are trading, if you stick to your strategy. If your strategy is HPLR, you post HPLR on Monday, post HPLR on Tuesday, post on Wednesday, what is left again? Right? Will I wake up every morning and just be posting HPLR charts up and down? Right? If your strategy is simple, at a point in time, it gets monotonous, it gets tiring, and you want to do something else with your life beyond posting charts, right? And I hope that sinks in with all of us. So please, if you have ways you can do this, wonderful. Now, why am I bringing this up? Remember, I said this may not be feasible in Nigeria, right? Because housing is relatively cheaper here, and cost of rent is also very, very cheap. For most students that went for masters in the UK, what they pay as monthly fees will be what you pay in Nigeria for your annual rent. What they pay as monthly rent, rather, is what you pay in Nigeria for your annual rent. So imagine you have 2 million. Imagine you have 3 million in Naira, and you could do something like that through a proxy. You will be earning in foreign currency, which is one of the aims, one of the discussions we had yesterday. We said you should try to earn 0.3 here. You should try to earn in foreign currencies. And I'm just showing you some of the ways I do it and some of the ways I feel you can do it. Right. One other thing I used to do, stopped, and then I resurrected last year is currency exchange via P2P on Binance. If you know how to read your Bitcoin chart, let me look for a clean chart. If you know how to read your Bitcoin chart, or you know how to read your DXY, even though DXY doesn't correlate with USDT all of the time, but again, neither does Bitcoin. But if you know how to read your Bitcoin chart with USDT, you could make side hustle with USDT. And in fact, I'm going to have a free training for all of us. I'm going to post it in the group on, I'll teach you guys how to create a Binance account if you don't have. I'll teach you guys how to be semi-merchants on Binance and teach you how to do P2P safely. If you have spare funds, right? I know 100K is a big amount for some of us, but let me just use that as, for the ease of calculation, let's say you have $100,000, for instance. It could be 10,000, it could be 1,000. Just do your math. In fact, I sold USDT just 2 days ago on Sunday or thereabout, and I sold for 743 or so. As of today, I checked, and USDT has gone to 748, right? Whosoever bought from me had just made $5. If you know how to read your Bitcoin chart, this is what I've observed. It's not a rule, I didn't read it anywhere, but by practicing this virtually every month, this is what I came to realize. Anytime Bitcoin is dropping very, very fast, USDT goes up, right? There's a tendency that the price of USDT will shoot up. Why? Most traders feel that Bitcoin is bleeding, is actually giving a discount, and then this will be an opportunity to buy Bitcoin cheap. So they hustle to get USDT. Whenever Bitcoin is dropping, is moving up very, very fast. People FOMO, and then they want to buy Bitcoin. The easiest way to buy Bitcoin is the use of USDT. So the price of USDT also goes up, right? When Bitcoin is dropping slowly, the price of USDT also goes up. The only time I've noticed that the price of USDT seems to come down is when Bitcoin is grinding to the upside, not moving very fast, like in this range here, right? Let me clear all of this. Yeah, in this range here, is grinding, not really moving. The USDT tend to come down. Now, this is not a rule of thumb, right? It's just an observation. In fact, I've not observed this over 3 years, so I can't say this is a rule. I've not observed it in at the tail end of a bear season. This is the first time I'll be trying it at the tail end of a bear season. But you could look for it. So the idea is this: you have certain amounts, 10,000, 100,000, for instance. You buy dollar, USDT. When it appreciates by 5 or 10 naira per unit, you sell it off, right? So let's say it appreciates for 5 naira, and then you sell. You buy at 740, you sell at 745. You would have made 5 naira. 5 by 100,000 is 500,000. That's 500,000 naira. Repeat this 2 times in a month if price allows you. Sometimes price will fluctuate so fast that you can repeat this 2 times a month. Sometimes you might not. Sometimes you might just make $2, 2 naira, 3 naira, right? But I know people. Okay, there was a time I was doing this almost 2 times a month, and I was making this amount times 2. Right, so you can do this even if it is 10K. So I promise you guys, in about 2 weeks, the guys in the present fostering program have not really resumed with them, resuming on Thursday and Saturday. So once we've taken them to a point where they have enough to do in terms of back test and everything, I will come to the group and teach us P2P. That will be for free, right? This is one way you can, something can be coming in aside just trading. So if your setup hasn't presented itself, you can sit down on your hands and relax. Something is going to come up somewhere else. And then when your setup presents itself, you go. If it is a loss, sorry for your loss. And if it's a win, be happy about it. Right? Now, for Forex, I still insist on using prop firms. Prior to 6 months ago, I would say I never trade my personal funds, but that is now false. I now trade my personal funds, and I show us. All right, dog, you come in. I'm rounding up soon. Dog needs to go somewhere, so we need to wrap up so he can take his session. Right. For Forex, I still want to go for prop firms. I now trade my personal funds, not individually. I use robots, and I think I showed us example of that yesterday. So this year, I'm going to continue with my prop firms. I'm going to try and see how I could use robots. Some of them are on MQ, MQL5 in the market space, on MT4. Some of the robots I actually got them from that point, from that point site. I did analysis on the history, and I went for them. I'll be sharing some of them to us as we proceed. We'll create another group for those who love robots. We'll create another group. We'll be having like 6 or 7 segmented groups out of the main Simply Pips group, right? So I would try to reduce interface as much as possible, right? Try to reduce interface as much as possible. And whatever trading system we use must have an asymmetrical risk-reward ratio. So if you use a strategy that gives you 1:1, you are putting yourself in a situation where you might not make money. So again, I'm aware we don't have time. I'm quickly going to come here. Prof created this probability scheme for us before. I did some modification. Some persons didn't find it easy risking. I think the last time we discussed it was asymmetric compounding. But let's leave asymmetric compounding. We'll come back to it in 3 weeks time again when we do another webinar. But for now, just look at this. For those of you who know compounding, you're not compounding, just asymmetrical. Imagine that for every time you take a trade, you make 4R. And for every time you lose 1R. So your risk-reward ratio is 1:4, right? We are using 25 iterations here. After 25 trades, you won only 12, which is just 48%, which is not, which in the eyes of many traders, many retail traders, this is a bullshit strategy. I mean, nobody goes to YouTube and say, I have a strategy that wins 48% of the time. Nobody's going to watch that video. right? But with 1:4, after 25 iterations, if they arrange themselves like this, you would have grown your account by 35% if you are risking 1% each. The problem most times is that we don't allow our winners run. Most traders don't allow their winners run. You enter a trade, the trade is coming, this is your stop loss. That's your TP there. You enter a trade at that point, this is your entry. The first trade went straight to hit your stop loss. Second trade, stop loss. The third trade is going in your favor. Then it starts doing some minor pullback. You close the trade there. You come back next tomorrow and discover that the price has hit your TP. The next time you enter a trade, you're intending for the trade to go up. The trade starts coming down. You remove your stop loss. And every time the trade looks like it's going up, you enter a new buy. Then it comes down. Then you begin to weep. It behaves as if it's going up. You enter a new buy again. And then it comes down. Eventually, because you try to avoid the loss of $50, now you've accepted the loss of $600. Then after closing, it is like somebody just used a diaper or whatever to wipe your eyes. And now you can clearly see that this was a downtrend. But when you're in the market, you didn't see that it was a downtrend because you are trying to avoid the loss. The solution, or one part of the solution, is ensure that you are having an asymmetrical. Asymmetrical simply means it's not the same, right? One is bigger than the other, risk reward ratio, right? Now, even if, let's play with these outcomes and see. If you are fortunate, or if we drag this, if you have even 11%, 11 wins out of 25, which is a 44% win rate, you still would have grown your account by 30%. Let's try one more iteration. Or if you have 16 wins out of 25, you had a very good month, you would have grown your account by 55%. Right? Of course, there are other things we discussed, like in the first stream program, we'll look at risks of ruin. Would you want to use 1% all of the time? Right? What if you have 5 back-to-back wins and blah, blah, blah? But here it is, right? This is what risk-reward ratio can do. You can change it to 1:3 and see how it looks like. 2, you can change that to 1:3. So let's begin to wrap up. So we'll give room for our strategist to discuss. Yeah, so for strategists, again, in 3 weeks' time, I'll share some of the strategies. I now trade a mixture of short and long term. So what that does for me is that it takes me off the burden of trying to predict precisely. So I have short term, like 1 hour trades where you cheat code or HPLR, 15 minutes, 30 minutes entry. Then I have long term trades. If I close this and I use another template, if I use another template here, sorry. If I bring up another template, yeah. Where is that template I want to use? No. Okay, yeah, very good. This is Bitcoin. And on H1, I'm already bullish. Whereas on weekly, I'm still bearish. Right? On daily, I'm bullish. So what that does, somebody's mic is on. So what that does for me, somebody's mic, let me see if I can quickly mute that person now. So what that does for me is that I could be in a buy and a sell on the same pair because I'm trading from different time frames. So I have a time frame telling me to sell it, a time frame telling me to buy. Usually it will not be at the same price. There will be some gaps, there will be some pips away. So whatever the market decide, let it do. If one of them hits stop loss, then it simply means this other one is winning. If the sell hits stop loss, it means the buy is winning. So you are always in a position where you could get something from the market. I'll hint at that sometime in 3 weeks' time, but it's basically for the guys in the first program. Right, so let's wrap up now. You cannot do all of these things I've mentioned, including trading for prop firms consistently. I mentioned I lost some accounts last year. You can't do this consistently if you don't have other sources of income to augment your trading. You may not go all out like me. I have other sources of, in fact, I told you guys I sell Herbalife online, right? So you might not go all out like me to do that. Yours might be restricted to just trading. So you create EAs, you have indicators, you sell courses or some other things. Do anything to ensure you have side income to keep your trading floating. If Steve Monroe can do it, if Michael of ICT can do it, if Adam Cook can do it, why not you? Don't allow anybody to push you into this egoistic point that, if you know you're making money from trading, why are you selling courses? Do all you need to do to keep your psychology afloat, right? And in Simply Pips this year, I mentioned we will be doing it in another way. So we'll be creating some basket groups, right? Some breakout groups, I mean. For instance, this was created by our instructor for graphics. We'll be discussing, we'll have guys doing graphics. I was supposed to show you guys somebody's account. Oh, I forgot. All right. Let me pause here and allow Doc to take his session so I can have some time to show you guys some of those guys' accounts so you see what those guys can do, right? But we'll be having breakouts. We will be having breakouts. For instance, this is the coding class, right? Like I said, I'm bringing people who do this for a living, right? So this was a group I created for church members and some other affiliates, right? We had about 51 members here, even though not everybody was in it. This is coding using Python, right? And you can even see the uses of Python is there. We had graphics. We had graphics, We also had digital marketing, right? It was very detailed on digital marketing. We'll be creating this from each of these schemes or each of these breakouts. You can be making money on the side while you trade. By the way, you have to wait for your setup to happen. So while waiting for your setup to happen, what do? Because you are not gainfully employed, you are forced to take trades. So can we help you maximize that time? Do something else with that. I'll be handing over to Doug right now. And if we still have time, I'll take you guys through this. I'll show you guys some accounts of people who are making money using these simple things here. So Doug is a strategist. For me, a strategist is somebody who is able to sit down, think outside the box, and create trading systems or strategies. And we have him in our midst. Let me quickly make him a co-host so he could easily share his screen. Doug, over to you. You can share your thoughts with us.
Thank you, Bishop. It's an honor and a privilege to be on your call today. Thanks for inviting me. My name is Doug Tabor. I'm the creator of AQZ Trading Method. I've spent years refining my craft on the algorithm development side of trading, and I have finally cracked the code with AQZ Cheat Code. This indicator is a trend bias tool with daily signals integrated with your trading platform. The AQZ daily market opportunities automatically directly on your TradingView platform. Easily spot entry zones with target levels readily charted for you on a daily basis. Built-in alert system so you never miss a moment with push notifications. This is my website, aqzfx.com.
Sorry, Doug, are you sharing your screen? We can't see it. I'm not sure you are sharing your screen yet. All right, yeah, we can see that now.
This is my website, aqzfx.com. This is where you can subscribe to the indicator. It's only $49 a month subscription. And you can read a little bit about me on here. On this website, I offer a free indicator, AQZ Momentum Shift, Next Level Forex Algorithm. And I also have a free Telegram group. You're more than welcome to join us to the next wave of Forex trading. Now, Today, Bishop, again, it's an honor and a privilege to be on. I appreciate you for inviting me to showcase this indicator cheat code. This indicator took me a while of development, and the indicator traps the market from 12 a.m. to 2 a.m. Eastern Standard Time every day at the same time. It draws this blue AQZ block every day. It waits for a break, and then we get a signal as long as we're favorable to the trend moving average. At the beginning of the week on Monday, 12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, a line comes from price from that opening price, and I call it my weekly sentiment line. This line is a good indication as to what the move of the week may or may not be. Price below this line, we're looking possibly to go bearish. Price is above this line, potentially bullish. Now, the zone itself that's created, the 2-hour zone every day, there are fib extensions that spit out on each side of this AQZ block. These are target levels and or our roadmap for that trade setup that day. Helps us to understand if the position is going in our favor or going against us. So as we can see here on GJ, this is the first pair I wanted to go over. We can go over whatever pair you guys want. It works on Forex, it works on metals, crypto, indices, exotics, and the like. It does not work on stocks due to gaps in the market. But as we can see, once we get a signal, there are a certain amount of conditions that need to be met in order for that signal to take place. So once the signal is present, you have the potential to enter in that direction. Our AQZ block is our entry zone, and in the very middle, I call my preferred entry zone. Let me zoom in here for you guys. So on any given day, you'll get a signal up or down. We can see we received a down signal here. This line is midnight standard time. That's the daily sentiment line. Just like the weekly sentiment line, casted on Monday, midnight Eastern Standard Time, we also have a daily sentiment line that shows us the open price, midnight Eastern Standard Time. Now, once the signal comes through, we could potentially enter at the open of that candle. We can see we got a retest of our daily sentiment line. Price dropped to take profit 1, 2, and 3. Once a new day and a new zone is created, I like to take most of my profits and wait for what the market wants to tell me that it's going to do for that day. Got our breakout, prices below our trend moving average. below our daily sentiment line. Signal came through with a retest and dropped to take profit 5. A retracement here to aqua zone 1. Again, we can see there's a way to pick quality signals, and the way to do so is your sentiment lines and your trend moving average need to be favorable. What do I mean by that? I mean, since we got a down signal, we want to be below the trend moving average and holding below the daily sentiment line. This gives us added confluence and added confirmation as to what direction the market may go. Not every signal is a winner. Just with any strategy or any trading method or style, you will have losers. Overall, this indicator does very well. I don't suggest using it to trade during news, holidays, or the weekends on crypto. Right here, we got a down signal. Price is below the trend moving average. We're below the weekly sentiment line. However, price is holding above the daily sentiment. So the daily sentiment is showing signs of going against our weekly sentiment line. So for this day, we can see that the sell did not really give us much of anything there, did it? And then we turned back around and got a buy signal here. And the next day, we can see that as well. In addition to the signals being fairly accurate most of the time across the board, we have these zones to play in. It's what I like to call our roadmap for our trade. TP1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I've given us 5 take profits to work with. You can take partials or take your entire profits at any of these levels, or you can utilize it like this. Price closes above take profit 1, retests up to the next zone, closes above take profit 2, retests, and so on and so forth. It's really an excellent, it's really helped me monitor and manage my positions while I'm actively trading. And it's for my trading. Psychology helps with psychology, as there is no question for the most part as to what the market may or may not be doing. Now, a lot of the times we will see a bear signal come through and price reject one of our zones. We can see that we had liftoff from take profit 2 into a buy opportunity and then back to a sell. So every day is a new day. The markets can flip at the drop of a hat, and cheat code is there to help us catch the move one way or the other, whether it's up, down, or sideways. Okay, you need yellow. Okay. Are there any other pairs anybody would like me to go over? Please list it in the chat. Right now, I'm going to go over the alert system. So once you receive this indicator, if you subscribe at aqzfx.com, you're going to go to indicators and go to my invite only scripts, and then add to your chart from that location. Once you add to your chart, you want to go to the bottom right of your screen. There's a little gear settings option. You want to click there and scale price chart only. If not, the indicator will look like so, due to some ADR settings. So I go back to my settings here on the bottom right corner, scale to price chart only, and that will give me only the candles to view and not the ADR line. What the ADR line does for us is it helps capture ghost, what I like to call ghost retests. What's a ghost retest? Well, it's something I came up with, and it's defined as a breakout followed by a ghost retest that does not retest the block. I've noticed a lot of breakouts in my system during development that price takes off without retesting the zone of interest. I still wanted to capitalize on these moves, so I coded in the ghost retest, and it's due to a percentage of ADR. So from that location to here, certain terms were met and the signal came through, and take profit to hit for that example. Please analyze gold. Like I said, this indicator works on just about everything, metals included. The trend moving average, the daily sentiment line, and the weekly sentiment line are there to help us understand the flow of the market and what direction it may or may not be going. Every day, cheat code traps the market for 2 hours, midnight to 2 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We get a breakout. Price came back and gave us a signal. Now, I want to show you guys what I did not code into this indicator, but can be taken advantage of just by knowing how price flows. It's called the cheat code reversal. So it'll, or counter trade. So counter to the signal that's current, if we get a rejection of a zone, this is a potential reversal of that signal. I did not code that into it, as I did not want tons more signals. There's already a lot going on this indicator as it is. We can see a reversal there, a reversal here, and a reversal here after this buy. My favorite reversals my favorite cheat code reversals are ones that break and retest a zone cleanly. So what do I mean by that? I mean, we get a buy, price comes to preferred entry, take profit 2 hit, and then this candle closes against our position on the other side of one of our AQZ zones. After this break and close, I'm looking for a retest of that precise location or AQZ zone. This would be a place, if I haven't already closed most of my profits, I want to do so now, as the market is potentially gonna go against our position. So this would be a cheat code reversal, and then later on followed up by our breakout signal that is below our trend moving average, daily and weekly sentiment lines. In regards to analyzing gold right now, I called a buy last night on a Zoom training. I'm doing London Zoom calls until March 1st for free, utilizing this indicator. After March 1st, I'll only be doing Zoom calls for the private cheat code group, which comes with the monthly subscription of $49 a month. A buy signal came through. We were above our trend moving average. However, the weekly sentiment line was blocking our buy. So we caught this buy, rejected on the weekly sentiment line, came back to our daily sentiment line, and our daily sentiment line held true to this buy signal. We broke, closed here. I thought price would retest potentially to continue, but they came back down, retested, and back down again. All of these zones that are on this indicator can be followed by price action. Price action, if it closes below a zone, it may go to the next zone. Closes back above, it may go up to the next zone, as an example there. How am I doing, Bishop? Do you have any questions for me? Anything anything else I should go over?
No, you're doing well. Of course, we'll have
Okay.
several more time to discuss this.
Okay, perfect. Any questions, team, in regards to this indicator? Any other pairs you'd like me to go over? For Bitcoin, Bishop, US 30, we'll do that next. Bishop mentioned that cheat code called a buy on Bitcoin on Friday. Now, one could, which I do, one could leverage top-down analysis, utilizing higher timeframes. Cheat code indicator is, the intention of this indicator is from the H1 down to the minute time frame. So it does not work on time frames higher than the hour time frame. If you're a scalper and you utilize this indicator, these zones will help you understand from where and when you may go a certain direction. As we can see, break and close, retest, next zone. break and close, retest, next zone. So each element of this indicator is a zone. And if a zone is breached, then it may hit the next zone going forward. Bitcoin obviously is open 7 days a week. So this indicator at the beginning of the week has our weekly sentiment line midnight Eastern Standard Time on Monday. Price gets trapped the first 2 hours from midnight to 2 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Here's our ghost retest. Got some profit there, came back to our AQZ block for an entry there. Some may not enter until the AQZ block, which is fine. I like to enter potentially when the signal arrives. We got a short opportunity to take profit 1. I want to highlight this reversal from this signal here. So the sell signal came through, sold off. Price is looking decent. We got to close below AQZ zone 1. However, it came back up and closed above, and then we got our retest here. And then we can see the reverse of that signal there. So understanding this indicator and the zones that it has, you can monitor price to make sure it's favorable to your position, and or if it's going to go against you potentially. Today's signal on Bitcoin was a buy. It was above our weekly sentiment line, our trend moving average, and our daily sentiment line. Daily, weekly sentiment lines and our trend moving average can potentially serve as entry levels and or locations to look for confirmation on smaller time frames. We can see that price came back to our daily sentiment line here and took off to take profit 1, 2. We got a break and close above zone 2, retest, close above zone 3 for the continuation. So if you didn't take all your profits yet, a runner is left, and our roadmap helps us stay in the position. This indicator helps me cut my losers short and allow my winners to run longer than I used to. Let's look at US 30. This indicator works exceptionally well on US 30. Okay, we had our open midnight Eastern Standard Time. This is what Michael at ICT calls the true daily open, instead of what's shown on our charts is midnight. It's basically where this indicator started from. Once he told me that, I really dived into that time, midnight. That was the one, that was the only characteristic I knew I wanted to work with. And then it took me 1.5 years to figure out I wanted to create a 2-hour zone, breakout with fib extensions, our entry zones, and all this other stuff. US 30 Monday. So we got a breakout low. How come we did not get a sell signal for US 30 on Monday? Well, the trend moving average is coded into the indicator and helps us to avoid unnecessary losses. So the trend moving average needs to be favorable to the breakout. The trend moving average is favorable to the breakout high here. We got our buy signal, preferred entry, weekly sentiment line, and then a nice rise. Price breaks back below our AQZ block. We are favorable to the trend moving average. Price is below. Get a retest of preferred entry, followed by a move down. Today, we got two signals. So the first signal was a short sell. Signal popped on at Aqua Zone 1 and went to Aqua Zone 2 or take profit 2. Once you close back above AQZ Zone 1, it's the market is telling us something. And cheat code helps us understand what it could possibly be telling us. Well, it's possibly telling us break, close, retest for the AQZ cheat code reversal. Once we came back up, prices above and favorable on the trend moving average, retracement to our block, and take profit 3 there. Let me see how much time. Okay, I still have a good amount of time here. Stop loss. Stop loss is going to be, you can use these levels to your advantage. So if I entered, let's make that red. If I entered this sell here, I may not want to use max stop loss. Max stop loss on this system is in between zone 1 and 2 on the opposing side of your signal. If I did not want that big of a stop loss because I'm entering down below the AQZ block here, then I can utilize these zones and go just above preferred entry for my stop loss there. Or you can even use it. Sometimes I go real tight just on the other side of the current zone. So like for instance, if I entered at preferred entry here, maybe I would go stop loss in between the block and zone 1. But as a rule of thumb, the max stop loss is between zone 1 and 2 on the opposing side, like so. So zone 1 and 2 stop loss. And the reason being is through the course of my development on this indicator, I've noticed that most times when you get the correct direction, price will not reach that level. Now it does happen. It does happen time to time. And and the direction may still be the way that it was intended. But for the most part, please throw light on weekly sentiment indicator. So with the weekly sentiment line and the daily sentiment line, these lines turn red and green depending on if price is above or below. And same thing with the trend moving average. If price closes below the weekly sentiment line, then the move of the week is potentially down. And if we close above weekly sentiment line, the move is potentially up. Let's see.
All right.
So that's pretty much it. Like I said, if you're interested in more information, please go to aqzfx.com to unlock the cheat code. You can also receive a free indicator and a free Telegram group to learn more about AQZ.
All right. Guys, can we appreciate Doug with a 111 in the chat box, please? 111 in the chat box. Yeah, I've seen quite a number of people trading cheat code in their own way. I'll be sharing my own method of using the cheat code in another 2 weeks. Yeah, so if we remember what we discussed, asymmetrical. Doug, thanks a lot. I'm aware you need to go somewhere. Thanks for taking out this time to share your thoughts with us. We will be inviting some of our friends to share their thoughts. Like I've mentioned time and time again, strategy is something that you have to find a strategy that suits you. It doesn't have to always go one way. Sorry, I need to pause recording, right? In the recording. Yeah, so we're having subgroups for graphics, coding, underwriting, digital marketing, and all of that, right? They'll all be at discounted price. The aim is not to stress anyone. We've never asked exorbitant fees in Simply Biz. We try to make it accessible to, to as many people as possible, and that is the aim. So this will be doing. I'll do a short video later on, perhaps a 10-minute video to recap the last part of this webinar, where we'll talk about the breakout groups. But I hope you guys will be interested, and I hope you guys will take it. Let's put a twist to 2023 and do something